Hello, we are live here today at the Life Recovery Podcast hosted by the Artistic Recovery live at the 320 Center. We have a wonderful, awesome guest today, talented musician, songwriter, and pastor. Has a decade of experience facilitating treatment and recovery groups. I would love to welcome Aaron Podgorski, senior pastor and founder of the Bride Church in LaPorte, Indiana.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike, for that wonderful intro, man. I appreciate that. Good to be with you.
Thank you so much. We're great to have you here. I'm humbled actually to even be sitting here with you. You've impacted so many lives. And our goal today is we're going to talk about spirituality in recovery.
Yeah.
Is the direction we're going. And you bring a long history of being in treatment, the church, and really bringing that whole concoction together. I think the first thing I really just kind of want to talk about and get started with is how we bridge the clinical application of recovery with the biblical application, because I think that is so deep and wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Mike. I'm excited to get into this stuff too, and the application, clinical stuff, when you look at treatment, and all the different things that are out there. And obviously there's probably more resources today.
More than ever, you're correct, yeah.
Than there ever has been. And, you almost feel bad for past generations because there just was so few resources, years ago. But when you roll it in and you start to look at faith, and I would like to point out that statistically, when you incorporate faith into your recovery, into your treatment, you are statistically more likely to pull it off, and to stay clean and sober. And so, I think that's significant, that there is something to that. But I also think it's really natural to go into, I think a lot of the issues when we deal with addiction, it's not just a chemical dependency, it's not just a medical condition. There's always something deeper going on. There's always something
at the root. We're talking about the roots here. We're talking deep.
Absolutely. Emotionally that's going on. There's some reason, there's some cause, that maybe made somebody want to begin to use to begin with.
For sure.
And so I think that's a big factor. So then when you begin to incorporate faith and you start to look at your spiritual needs,
that sounds deep.
Yeah.
But so critical.
Right.
When we bring that to the table in recovery. And something we talk about here at Artistic Recovery is the multiple pathways in recovery. Spirituality being the cornerstone of all those pathways that we really bring to the table.
Well, it's huge. I mean, even if you look at, your different groups like AA and stuff, they're all going to talk about finding a higher power. They're all going to talk about, because that's something that we need in order to have hope and in order to just pull it off and really begin to move forward in our lives. There has to be some kind of breakthrough,
Most definitely. And when you're talking about breakthrough, I think that's a great segue into the pushback that we see, because in recovery, we know how important that is. But at the front end of that, you mentioned the word spirituality. You bring those spiritual principles out, and wow, there's a pushback. There's a hesitancy amongst people when that's brought out. And how do you really get past that? Like, how have you seen biblical applications really move people to really just at least open something up, at least be willing to, accept that this might be something that's critical in my recovery?
Well, I think part of the obstacle that you have to overcome is there's a lot of just stigma out there. There's a lot of opinions and a lot of viewpoints. If you start to talk about the Bible or you start to talk about faith and spirituality and things, people just kind of, all right, where are we going with this?
Yeah, the minute you meant, yeah.
And so you do have to kind of overcome that a little bit. But I think a lot of it's just how do you present it, If you come out of the gate and you're presenting it like, this is what I believe, this is the truth, and, you better accept it or get out or something, like, well, people aren't real receptive to that. What I would try to do, especially just talking about the Bible, being such a big part of recovery, just being such a massive inspiration and tool and, just life-giving freedom, all that stuff. I mean, that's how I feel about
exactly.
it, but that's not necessarily the starting point with people, I would just challenge them just to take a look at it for themselves. Just strip away, whatever kind of presuppositions you might have about the Bible or what you've heard about it. And just like, hey, we're going to put some of this stuff on the table, share some verses, and you can come to your own conclusions. That's fine. And at the end of the day, you may not feel the same way I feel about it. You may not see it the same way I do, but at least you took a look at it for yourself. I never ask anybody to take my word for it, but I'm also saying don't take somebody else's word for it. What they said, let's look at it for yourself.
Seek it out, yeah.
And just hear it out. And and at the end of the day, if it's not your thing, it doesn't jive with you, you don't want it, well, that's your decision. I'm certainly not going to jam religion or the Bible down anybody's throat, even though I think it's like this is the key, but you just put it out there for people and say, hey, you can do with this what you want to do with it, but it's been really beneficial and transforming my life, and I hope it helps you.
Yeah, most definitely. And I've been blessed enough to witness you kind of that transformation of letting people know, where people, they come in with a really closed mind, and it's not pushed, it's not shoved, it's not anything. It's really presented in a way of, like you said, like, take a look for yourself. I really like that, because I think, again, so many people walk into this and they've heard it from over here, they're listening to that, and it's like, have you experienced it yourself? Have you like we say, dip your toe in the water. Have you tried it?
Right.
And then we see once they do, it starts with the book closed, and then all of a sudden flipping through some pages of that book, and then like seeing that light come shine.
Oh yeah, and I think you can watch the guard come down with people, and being a facilitator and facilitating recovery groups and getting to present faith was like a revolutionary thing for me, because you get a lot of practice, because sometimes people will sort of be on the attack about.
Most definitely.
Sometimes people will. You go, all right,
they want
we're
to
gonna
push it. They want to push you and see, where's this guy coming from?
Right.
Where's he gonna go?
Sure.
So they're kind of pushing back. But what I always loved about the way you presented was it's all about the love. And you presented. You've always presented it with with those principles that are the key to really the foundation of a good recovery: the love, the forgiveness, the all those principles that come shining through when.
Well, and you find some commonality. You got to hit chords with people. When we talk about certain things, certain needs that we have and stuff, spiritual needs, and somebody might go, "Oh, spiritual needs, I don't know about that." And you say, "Well, what about peace,
hope?
What about finding hope? What about the quest for joy or purpose or direction in life?" Like all of these kinds of things, and as you start to talk about those things and you kind of identify with people a little bit, isn't this what we're all looking for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even somebody, whether they're atheist or agnostic or they're Christian or whatever they may be, they're going to acknowledge, we do. Well, all we're trying to do is get to that point. And, we think the Bible's the answer. Like, so we're going to use that, to try and lead you down that path. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. Right?
Yeah.
So, that's kind of how we present it. And I think, the practice of doing that and just working with people and not forcing it on anybody, but also being honest about it, it tends to yield better results.
Most definitely. And I like that you said that you need to find things that, was it chords that...
Yeah, you got to strike a chord with people. You got to find some commonality.
Yeah, so talking about striking chords, you are also a gifted, talented musician. I've again been blessed to listen to you play. I've watched you play. It's moving. From one musician to another, it's almost like, geez, what's this? This guy's amazing, man.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
And so we actually have a song today too that we're gonna kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe bring to the table, and when listening to it, I gotta say there was something that stuck out to me. There was a line in it in those lyrics. The blind will gain their sight by opening their eyes.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually the blind
Or okay, maybe I
won't
get
gain their sight by opening their eyes. You
Okay.
know? And it's kind of just
That's yeah.
alluding to, you know, that there's something deeper, you know what I mean, that
Yeah.
you need. And so I think part of the bridge that we're trying to cross there is like you get into music. Music is such a powerful thing. You know, it just music can move you in a way that, you know, it can take you to a different place,
Yes,
a different time
Yes, it
altogether. You know, you hear a certain song and it takes you somewhere, you know, and you talk about striking a chord with somebody. It's one of the reasons why here, like locally, in this recovery community that meets here at 320, you know, music's a big part of it. Art's a big part of artistic recovery, you know.
The creativity aspect, and I like that. You know, the way you tie music into to really the whole application of it all, but also the really the important role of using it to, like you said, strike that chord with people. And
Yeah.
we've seen that where people, again, for whatever reasons, those roots that they shut all those big questions down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't know how to talk about those things. They don't know how to ask about them.
Right.
But then, then you could play them a song, and then and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, let me ask.
Or they share a song.
Yeah, or
You know
they
what I
share
mean?
a song, yeah.
And it breaks down walls. It breaks down barriers. It really does.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, music can give people something to identify with. Music can help people express things that, like you said, they can't maybe articulate verbally, but through music, they can get those emotions out and they can deal with things. And so certain songs seem to really strike a chord, and it's been interesting because I've done, you know, worship music and stuff in church, you know, for 20 years or whatever, and it's been interesting getting to share certain songs and worship songs with the recovery community because certain songs really resonate. And this song is called "Son of David." It's written by a group called Ghost Ship. And it's just a fantastic song. And what I love about it is it bridges that gap from, you know, just with faith and recovery and kind of makes this connection. And I love the song because it's straight from the Bible. It's from a story in the New Testament. I think it's like Mark 10 or 9 or something. Where
Somewhere
Jesus,
in that area, somewhere in that ballpark, right?
Yeah, Mark 10 it is.
There we go.
And Jesus encounters this blind guy, and his name is Bartimaeus. And, you know, this guy is kind of just chilling on the side of the road, and he hears that Jesus has come to town, you know, and he's coming through town, and he just starts crying out, "Son of David, have mercy on me," which is like the hook of the song.
Yeah.
And everybody is kind of just, you know, here's this guy who's probably like a blind beggar essentially in this town because, you know, he had no means of providing for himself. He just keeps crying out, "Son of David, have mercy on me." And it's kind of acknowledging Jesus is the Messiah and the healer, but he's calling out in his desperation. And people are like basically telling this dude to shut up.
Putting
You
him
know,
down, knocking him down.
Yeah, quiet down, you know, pipe down. Nobody wants to hear that. He doesn't want to talk to you, this, that, and the other. And it just says that he cried out all the more, saying, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." And inevitably, Jesus goes and heals the man. And that's kind of like the setup for the song. But in the song, it dramatizes it as like this guy is hearing the crowds, you know. He knows that a king has come to the city, and he's like, you know, if I could see, I would follow him too. If I could, you know, if I could reach out and see where this guy is, I would reach. And it just presents this desperation, you know, that I think people, when you're struggling with addiction, you understand that desperation. You understand getting to this point where it's like, I don't know the way out of this.
Yeah, and I think this music, again, tying it back to, like you said, when we talk about addiction, when we talk about the spiritual nature, like you said, stigma is tied to everything.
Yep.
And I think that this song, and the powerful way you sing it as well, brother, like it is amazing.
Hey, man, thank you.
How real it is. And, we're going to listen to it now and then maybe break it down. And,
Yeah. Just one more thing on the end of that.
Yeah, hey.
Because I'm getting into this
There's
now.
so many things. Yeah, let's get in there.
But,
let's get in there.
You get to the second verse, and it's like, the guy basically says, like, look, I can't leave where I'm at. I can't see where I'm going, He says, I cannot leave this gate since I cannot see my way, but I can stand and call his name. Like, the only thing that he has left to do is just to cry out like he did in the passage.
And when we tie that back in the recovery sense, like everyone on this journey has experienced that right there. That's the rock bottom. There's nothing left, like at the bottom. Yeah. Hopeless.
And that crying out is ultimately what leads to his healing and his breakthrough and everything else. So, all the folks that come to our thing on Wednesdays, our recovery night, where we do worship music and all that, man. It's just like, this is one of our jams.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Very cool. Super cool. And let's listen to that.
Jesus, save me. I was blind, now I see. Jesus, save me.
Mr. Podgorski, that was one of the most amazing things I've heard.
Well, thank you.
Again, I've heard it recorded, but watching you do it live always changes the game. Like we were talking earlier, like live music, just that spiritual nature of that alone.
Yeah.
But unbelievable. And again, just the way it all ties back to recovery. It's like so point on. And that's why we could see at a recovery center when you play that, I could just, the people would be, just even swaying to it, just how powerful it is.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for coming today. I hope
My pleasure.
I hope there's more for us later at some point. We're going to wrap this up today. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for showing up on the video cast. And just a reminder, get online, check out those resources, share, find this song, share that song with everybody you know. Like it, love it. If you're local, come check them out on Wednesday nights.
Absolutely.
If you can get in, because it's a packed house these days.
Yep.
But you will be able to get in. There will always be a seat here at the center for you.
We'll put more out.
Exactly. There's always more chairs. So thanks again. Get online, get those resources, share that song, and we will see you again next time.
All right. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Thank you so much.